thought the free agency madness was over, Adam continues to break news. What's the latest on Justin Fields, Adam?
Laura, it's never over, and today the New York Jets traded Justin Fields to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2027 sixth-round draft pick. Fields gets to go to a place that he wanted to be, where Patrick Mahomes is recovering from a torn ACL, and the Chiefs needed a backup quarterback. With them having lost Gardner Minshew to the Arizona Cardinals, Fields will come in, get plenty of work during the offseason, during training camp as Mahomes gets healthy and returns to the starting lineup, and now he'll get to work with Andy Reid. The New York Jets, on the other hand, get back another draft pick in the 2027 draft that is expected to be loaded. It's a late-round draft pick, but the Jets already are armed with extra ammunition in that draft. They'll need another quarterback in the room, but at some point in time, they are expected to draft one next month. We'll see what round they decide to do that, but they'll add to that quarterback room now that they've subtracted from it today by trading Justin Fields to the Chiefs.
Some interesting names in the later rounds for quarterbacks in the draft. But let's look at the timeline for KC and Mahomes. Mahomes tore his left ACL and LCL back on December 14th. He underwent successful surgery the next day in Dallas. And the typical recovery for such an injury, about 9 months, meaning Mahomes will miss the team's offseason program. His availability for the start of next season, of course, is in question. The start is what we're focusing on. 2026 NFL season opener is slated for either September 9th or 10th. We'll find out more when we know the full schedule. And Mina, what's the impact for the Chiefs with this signing of Justin Fields?
I think it makes a ton of sense. I mean, this is a low-risk signing. Let's start there. They gave up a sixth-round pick. They're paying him, I believe, $3 million because the Jets are eating some of his salary. That's not just backup money. That's cheap backup money. And he is a qualified back, one of the more qualified, experienced backups around now, given his starting experience. If he does have to play, and let's say there's some complications with the injury, he does bring that experience. I think also you'll see some changes in the offense. But I could also see Kansas City using him in packages as the year goes on. Patrick Mahomes hasn't run a quarterback sneak since he got hurt in 2019 on one. To me, that's one very obvious way you can incorporate Justin Fields into your offense. And I know we can laugh about it and say it's not a big deal. Wait till it's 4th and 1 in a playoff game, and we can talk about whether that's a big deal. For Fields, to me, also, is an opportunity for him to actually, and I know we're a broken record on this, pursue the Sam Darnold path. And maybe it won't pan out, but when I think about Sam Darnold, yes, we think about Minnesota, but to me, the year he spent in San Francisco before he got to the Vikings, between the Panthers and the Vikings, that is what Justin Fields can look at this as. Adam made a great point about how he'll get a lot of work this offseason with Mahomes' injury. This is an opportunity for him to not only learn under the best, and of course Andy Reid, but also rebuild his value as a quarterback. I love it for both sides.
Let's talk about what this will actually look like in the Chiefs offense. I mean, Chase, you spent 3 years with Andy Reid. How do you think this plays scheme-wise for Justin Fields and the fit?
Well, I agree with Mina. It's a low-risk, high-reward signing for me, and I love it really for the player and for the team. Obviously, Adam was saying, Shefty was saying that Mahomes is coming off an ACL. Well, you don't know how or if he's going to be ready for the first of the year. So what do? You go out there, you get a high-reward type player. And I'm a huge Justin Fields fan personally. I like the way he plays, but it's his 4th team in 4 years. All right, Bears, Steelers, Jets, and then Chiefs, obviously. And it's the first in that span, though, with an offensive-minded head coach. He's going to get a lot of reps in the offseason. He's going to get a lot of reps in training camp. But even when Mahomes is back, I agree with Mina, like 4th and 1 in the playoffs, and it's 2nd and goal or 4th and goal, whatever it is, like you could view Justin Fields and Andy Reid. I mean, Andy Reid's drawing up plays on his napkins. It's well talked about. And so imagine a Justin Fields, Kenneth Walker backfield on these 2nd and 3rd and 4th and goals. I would love it.
Adam, you mentioned how this impacts potentially the quarterback position in the draft this year for the Chiefs. Just elaborate a little bit more on that, where you see them maybe taking a quarterback and what their overall thought process is about this draft specifically for that position.
Well, I think the Chiefs are good in this draft. The Jets, though, I think the quarterback position is up in the air moving forward next month. I think there are a lot of people around New York. I've already been asked, are the Jets taking Ty Simpson in round 1? My guess would be no, but let's see how it plays out here over the course of the next month. They are loaded with draft picks in the 2027 NFL Draft. 3 first-round picks in a draft that is expected to be loaded with first-round caliber quarterbacks. Now, again, that doesn't preclude the Jets from looking this year. I think they will. It would not be a surprise to see the Jets use one of these mid-round picks, a relatively early pick, but not a one, on a quarterback. And we'll see how that plays out here moving forward. There also are still veterans out there that they could add to the room. Andy Dalton has worked with Frank Reich before, and the Panthers are expected to move on from him and potentially trade him. Carson Wentz has worked before with Frank Reich and could wind up working with him again here in New York. There are some options that I think the Jets still are not done adding to the quarterback room here, and then they'll go out and draft someone, I think, in the middle rounds to complement Geno Smith, a veteran, and a rookie.
Adam, by the way, thanks for being a great teammate. I said the Chiefs, I meant the Jets. Two very different organizations, as we well know, and you picked me up right where I left off. All right, let's talk about the Eagles, guys. Also making some news last night by signing tight end Dallas Goedert to a one-year, $7 million deal, which helps the Eagles avoid a dead cap hit as well, so important there. They did lose Jahan Dotson in free agency, so this secures one of the Eagles' offensive threats to be back, and he's been a good weapon for Jalen Hurts, right? Goedert was a key part of this Philadelphia passing attack last season, catching a career-best 60 passes for 591 yards, heavily featured in the red zone, shattered his previous high with 11 touchdowns, and those 11 touchdown catches tied with first-team All-Pro Trey McBride for the most among tight ends in 2025. I'm not sure if we always talked about Dallas Goedert in that way in that same conversation with McBride, but Mina, how does this impact the Eagles' offense as they head into the draft and next season?
Yeah, I think it's helpful in a couple of ways. One, obviously, you have the familiarity. You talked about the red zone. How often have we seen Dallas Goedert be on the receiving end of the RPOs that they like to run? There's that institutional knowledge he brings back. I do like by the fact this kind of flew under the radar that they finally brought in a blocking tight end, Johnny Munt from Minnesota, because to me, that's been really a missing component of this Eagles offense as Goedert has become less of a blocker. Now when they're running 12, maybe in 13 personnel, they have a blocking tight end, so he doesn't have to be in that role per se. But I also like it because of the flexibility it gives them in the draft. I'm a huge fan of the Oregon tight end, Kenyon Sadiq. Chase and I have talked about how much we both like him. I would love him in Philadelphia, but now there's no pressure necessarily to take him in the first round, especially if there's an edge, which is another glaring need they like there. So I like it when teams go into the draft not feeling like there's a glaring hole they desperately have to fill. They can let the draft fall to them. To me, having your tight end room makes it easier for them to do that, even if they take Sadiq, which I don't think should be off the table.
Yeah, it's making me think, okay, so Sadiq, A.J. Brown, you got Devontae Smith, you got Dallas Goedert, and then that makes you think about A.J. Brown, Adam, naturally, right? What's going on there? Are they going to hold on to this guy after everything that happened in free agency? It seems like maybe they are for now.
Yeah, there have been trade discussions, and the Eagles have been steadfast all along that they wouldn't move A.J. Brown unless they got back a return package that they felt was fair and sufficient. That has not happened just yet. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be happening anytime soon. For the time being, A.J. Brown trade talks are on hold. That doesn't mean that he couldn't be traded before the draft or sometime around June 1st when the math surrounding his trade would dramatically shift and would be much more easy to make a trade post June 1. But right now, it seems like the trade talks have been tabled. They're on hold. They're not happening right now. And we'll see if they heat back up again. But getting Dallas Goedert back gives them another weapon. They still have a hole, as you mentioned, by losing Jahan Dotson. So now, if we're in a world where they don't have A.J. Brown, they don't have A.J. Brown, they don't have Jahan Dotson, they don't have two of their top three wide receivers next year, and you take a look at the notable moves that they've already made this offseason. You see the emphasis on the defensive side of the football with some of the players that they've lost. They wanted back Jalen Phillips. They lost him. They knew they'd lose Nakobe Dean. They knew they'd lose Reed Blankenship, and Jahan Dotson was a loss at wide receiver. So this is a team that, for all its capital and all the talent it has, it does have holes to address here the remainder of the offseason.
Chase, what do you think they should do? Move A.J. Brown if they can find the right trade partner?
I think so. I mean, I think it's without a doubt. The writing's on the wall. Look, A.J. Brown, even ever since he was reading a book on the sideline, I think just seems disinterested, especially with the quarterback play at times and the inconsistencies of Jalen Hurts. For me, A.J. Brown is one of the most underutilized receivers in the game. You can put him at X, you can put him in the slot, you can put him outside at the Z, and he is a matchup nightmare, the 50-50 balls, all that, everything's talked about. But when you line him up against a smaller DB, he will literally mosh you. Okay. And 6 of his 7 years in the NFL, 1,000 yards receiving. And guys, 32 touchdowns in his last 4 seasons in Philly. And yet he's still being underutilized because he still wants the football. Go to a team like the Patriots, just signed Romeo Doubs. Give Drake May a 1-2 punch. Obviously, the Rams were in it. Devontae Puka, that would be unfair. Seems to be unfair. Seems unlikely right now. But go to the Patriots, help Drake May out, and get a guy that will throw you the football in one-on-one coverage.
Yeah, Patriots fans everywhere salivating. I mean, Mike Vrabel might be salivating. It sounds like a great prospect if it can happen. We'll keep an eye on it. Coming up, we got a lot to get to today, and March Madness meets the NFL. You're going to have to stick around for this. We got teams going head-to-head in our free agency bracket. Look at us. We're doing a lot with March Madness. Who are the biggest